All right, guys. Welcome from all over, I see. All right. So before I officially introduce myself and get us started, I did try to wait a few minutes so we can get in as many people as possible. But I always want to do a tech check before we start. Make sure that you guys can hear me and that you can see the PowerPoint because that's going to be the most important part that you can see. Perfect. All right, guys. I am Joy Berkheimer. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist working out of my private practice in Boca Raton, Florida. So, one of the lucky therapists who gets to present groups to you guys. And in our group and art today, we are going to be talking about the 5 building blocks of well being and happiness. So, the topic we're talking about is a concept out of positive psychology. How many people have heard of positive psychology before? Nope, you have. Yes. No. Okay. I'm sure that most of us have heard of the word psychology, right? So, psychology is the study of our pathology, meaning the study of things that are not well. So it'll be like the study of things like depression, the study of things like anxiety, where positive psychology does recognize all of the things that we struggle with. It is actually the study of our strengths, right? So it comes from the concept of looking at what is innate in us. There can be weaknesses that are innate in us and that show up in different areas of our lives, but there are also our strengths that if we are able to recognize them, we can utilize them to manage the things that psychology recognizes about us. Okay. So, we are going to go ahead and jump into these building blocks. And the acronym for the building blocks are right here. It's PERMA. So I'll break those down for you. I love the acronym because to me, it is not the complete word of permanent, right? So permanent is not there. It reminds us that if we are working on ourselves, if we're working on our self discovery, our growth, increasing our health and our strength, it's something that we have to continue to work on. It's not like a one time shot. You can't go to the gym on like Tuesday and Thursday, and next Wednesday, you're like, I'm super fit. I never have to go to the gym again. It doesn't work that way. You have to continue to kind of like fill that cup up and get more powerful. So, I'm going to try to give you some tools to help you with these different building blocks that we have that will sometimes feel depleted and we want to consistently try to pour into them. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw at the top. If you've never been in any of my groups before, I don't do a Q&A at the end. That drives some people crazy, so I'm telling you ahead of time. So I will be taking questions throughout the group. I can't take all the questions, of course, and if there are questions that I miss, you are more than welcome to submit them to me. You can email them, you can direct message me on Instagram. I will have a live. I have one every Tuesday called Dear Joy, where I will answer any questions that I was not able to answer today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The Q&A mode is on, and there's a link up top for additional resources that you may need. Okay, so if you are coming in later or you have to leave early, do not worry. This will be recorded. All the webinars are now recorded and sent to your email, and you have access to them for 7 days. So you'll be all good with that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So PERMA, the first of our these are not, I don't share my slides. So no, they're not downloadable. All right. So the first of PERMA is positive emotion. So there's a bunch of positive emotions. There's actually an emotional guidance scale where there's like 26 emotions that are listed. So there are a bunch of emotions that we could experience. So some positive emotions could be love, could be gratitude, could be happiness, right? Um, Out of positive emotions that you've experienced, like what would you say you experience now or you would like to experience more of? Appreciation, yes. Inspiration, that. Happiness, contentedness, love, more respect from kids and wife, satisfaction, feeling grateful, joy, acceptance. Yes, acceptance is a big, big thing. I would say my favorite positive emotion is actually a reframe that I learned practicing positive psychology, and it would be excitement. So, anxiety is something that, I used to struggle with quite a bit. I struggle with it less. I utilize a lot of the tools that I teach so that I can manage it a little bit better. But a reframe for me is if I'm going in front of a room of people that I have to speak to, if I'm about to do something I've never done before, I could be nervous, I could be highly anxious, I could be afraid. And being anxious is being in a state of seeing things unfold in the most negative way possible, right? Like, who knows what's going to happen, but it's going to be bad. Where I am able to do a reframe and understand that anxiety or that energy that I actually experience is the same feeling that I experience when I'm experiencing excitement, right? And excitement for me is the unexpected is going to happen, a miracle could happen, amazing things that I never thought would happen could unfold right in front of me. So I know my body's experiencing the same thing, but with a mindset shift, I'm able to embrace the space of, I'm excited about this. Who knows what's going to happen? Okay. So let's look at, I guess, some of the benefits of experiencing more positive emotion and having this building block filled up, right? So, research shows that the more positive emotion that you experience, the better relationships that you have. So, when you are someone who is experiencing more of these emotions, you're more likely to be better connected in your current relationships. So, you're the person who gets to be the rock for the person that you're with. You can be an example for them when they're going through a hard time as to how to continue to move through spaces with gratitude, with love, and with a lot of hope, right? So people really draw from that energy from you. It also shows that you have better new relationships. So if you are someone who is networking for work, if you're someone who's dating, you are more likely to be the person that people are pulled into. People believe that you are more confident, right? And they're actually more attracted to you when you're experiencing more positive emotion. So if I am walking into a date, right, and I'm nervous, right, I'm anxious, like I was talking about, what does your face usually look like? You have this thing in the middle of your forehead. You're like, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to be terrible, right? But if I walk in there from a space of being positive, not just about, oh, how's this date going to go, but just in general, right? My general life, I am able to experience gratitude. I have that shift when I'm smiling. That's the thing that people are drawn into, you being in a space of positivity, because they want to figure out how you're doing it. They want to generate it as well, right? So they're pulled into that light. Research also talks about, just unmuted. Okay. Research also talks about the idea of us having less physical ailments when we experience more positive emotions, right? So it's probably about our immune system and being someone who is in a better space in a positivity, right? You're more likely to be someone who eats differently, who takes care of your body, someone who does work out or gets into nature, gets more vitamin D, gets more sun, and doesn't stay inside, right? Because you feel differently about having experiences. So it's probably aligned with that. But the research does show that someone who has more of this building block filled up is less likely to be in the middle of flu season and have the sniffles. Okay. Somebody called me out on this. I was like, I don't even get sick and blah, blah, blah. And I've been doing this group for about 4 years on BetterHelp anyway. And so one day I think I came on and I was sick, and she's like, oh, see, you do get sick. So, but I rarely get sick, right? And in the middle of COVID, this is obviously going to be one of those exceptions because this is something that's different to our bodies and that kind of thing. But the fact is, I really don't get sick that much, and I do try to practice these same things. Correlation, not causation. Don't really know, right? But I am very intentional about trying to utilize the things that I think could possibly protect me a little bit more. So why not, right? So less space for negative thinking. When we are experiencing more positive emotion, we're also usually going to be in more of a positive narrative, right? Our thought process does really fuel the way that we are feeling in that moment. So if you're renting less space to negative thinking, you're able to rent more space to positive thinking. So if you're somebody, you're going to work, and you are expecting that your coworkers are going to be lazy, that the customers are going to be nasty, and your boss is going to micromanage, right? What happens when you get there? You see that your coworker has AirPods in their ear, and the assumption is they're listening to Netflix and they're not really doing any work, and you're doing everything by yourself. A customer like myself who's from New York talks really fast, and you're like, oh my God, they're so rude, they're rushing me. Or your manager doesn't know something for real, and you are an expert in this area, and they come and they ask you something, and you swear that they're micromanaging you, right? So that's how you experience that situation. So my kids, for the longest time, this year they're going to be what, middle school and high school. Man, I had a long time running where they believed in Santa Claus, and it was another kid that messed it up for me. But we did good for a while. So that means that they would go downstairs, and if their father was passed out after building their bikes, right? They didn't say, "Oh my God, there's no Santa. Daddy just built our bikes." No, it was clearly Daddy fell asleep waiting for Santa, and we know that he came here because we can see that the milk is gone and half the cookies have been eaten, right? Because they had this belief. And so this was them staying in the space of their positive place, and it correlated more positive emotion for them. So if you go to work and you're not having these assumptions, you're not projecting that energy about how all the things are going to go wrong, right? You're not going to make these assumptions about your coworkers. You're going to realize if they're listening to their ear pods, they're trying to concentrate on the project that they're doing. They're trying to move through it. The customer, you're not going to be so triggered or irritated by a customer being different than you speaking differently than you. Everything is not going to be about how everyone's coming at you, right? So the more you experience this positive narrative, or you allow yourself to have that, the more positive emotion you will also experience, right? Let's see. Let me go. I'm just looking for questions really quick. Sorry. All my emotions. So this is not, oh, and I know that wasn't a question, but I see somebody who responded to that, which makes sense. There is something called positive toxicity. And this is when you are being encouraged. Like if you go to your therapist and they're like, "Oh, what happened? How was your week?" And you're like, "Everything sucked." You're like, "Did everything really suck? I mean, but wasn't it really a good thing that this girl broke up with you because blah, 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 blah," right? That is not a thing that you should do. And that's not what positive psychology is toting. And it's not about, there's no negative emotions. As I said, there's an emotional guidance scale with 26 emotions, the bottom one being anger, the top one being joy. So there are plenty of emotions that you should experience, and they are natural and normal to experience. That's not what I'm talking about. But reality is perception, so to speak, right? You have the ability to perceive things in a different way for your benefit in order for you to be more healthy and period, to be happier, right? But if my mom passes away, there's no perceiving it in some different way that she is not gone. I can perceive the meaning of it differently. I can perceive maybe where she is now, where someone else can be like, she's nowhere, So it's really up to you how you utilize this, but there is no encouragement for you to push down real emotions. Emotions are signals of something. They're signals of what's going on inside of you, and we need to have those signals, right? So anyway, that's that. Do you believe in faking a smile or happiness until it works, faking until you make it? So I believe in activating certain things to shift how you feel because that's what you want to do. When you want to feel differently, yes, there are things, and it's not necessarily faking it. There's science behind smiling. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of a Duchenne smile. It's that really big smile you do. Literally, if you were to force yourself, you don't have to do this in front of people. If you did it by yourself, you did like that creepy Joker smile, it's a scientific thing that it changes your brain waves and literally changes the chemicals in your body to feel differently and to feel lighter, right? So that is just, it's a triggering of something because you want to feel different, almost like kind of making yourself high in a legal way. It's kind of like that. But you don't have to fake it until you make it. No, you can move through your emotions, and when you're like, "Hey, I don't want to do this anymore and I want to go out," sometimes you have to activate certain things in order for you to be able to live in the world the way that you want to. That's what that's about. How do we stay stagnant in the positive narrative when literal stuff keeps happening? Keep killing it with kindness. Not with kindness. Stuff does happen. And so so negative stuff can be happening, but positive stuff can actually be happening at the same time. So it's not about killing the reality with kindness. It's about recognizing the whole thing, recognizing all the things that happen. One of the things that I do ask my clients when we are processing what's been going on and how they're managing and how they've managed in the past and how we're going to apply that now and that kind of thing. When we sit back and we look at it, I say to them, this year that you're having, is it better than the last year that you had? And was that better than the year before? And was that better than the year before? Right? Even when they're having a horrible year, we all were experiencing COVID and the pandemic and things like that, right? And I'm not making them say this, I'm asking a question, and the answer is always, this year is better than the last year. So what this says to me is we get caught in these moments, and we're encapsulated in this moment, in this hour, in this week, in this month that may have been crappy. But the reality always is that there are other things still happening. So good and bad can coincide at the same time. And I will never deny the good and I will never deny the bad, but I will choose where I put my energy, if that makes sense. I'll choose where I like what I feed, what wolf I feed. Good positive psychology books. The How of Happiness is an amazing book. It'll completely break down positive psychology, and it'll give lots of activities and exercises to do to activate these different boxes that we need. Okay. All right, so let me move to the next one. Like I said, I'm not going to answer all the questions, but I'll answer what I can. So let's try a positive emotion trigger now. So what I would like you to do, you can get a notepad if you want, a piece of paper. Putting it in the chat box would be great, but it's up to you. I want you to write down 3 things that went well yesterday and 3 things that went well today. Now, for those of you who are like, it's early in the morning, nothing has gone well yet today, nothing's happened, I have 2 things. First thing is you woke up this morning. Second thing is you got on this groupinar. So you can pick number 3. So 3 things that went well yesterday and 3 things that went well today. I was looking for the book. It's on my bookshelf, but it's back there too far. But yes, The How of Happiness. Brush my teeth like a champ. It's 12:21 and I just had to convince my son to brush his teeth. Done, got my nails done and turned out great. My cat snuggled me. How nice of your cat, for real, because they just do their own thing. Ate healthy, finished my new resume, got a job for a day. Nice. Started my job. My dog had a lovely time on a farm. Oh, how cool. Had a nice dinner. Was productive today. I'm eating vegan food. Slept well. Walked 2.5 miles. Went to the lake and jet skied. Nice. Took the dogs to the lake. Man, these dogs are lucky. My poor dogs. Worked out. Responded to emails. Baked a cake. Nice haircut. Made breakfast. Just finished your session on better health. Ooh, made some soup today. Yes. We haven't been feeling well, and our friends made us etouffee. I love a good soup. Heading to work on time. Hello Fresh Box. Went to the zoo. Got Panera bread. Rode the Peloton. Man, everyone who has a Peloton loves their Peloton. Didn't call out of work today. Yes. Don't stop typing. Don't stop typing while I continue to talk. So, for those of you who either wrote down at least what went well yesterday, or you have read what other people are writing down, right? Would you say you experienced a shift in how you felt from prior to writing this down or reading it? Yes. So this simple trigger for positive emotion, and again, you can continue writing, is gratitude. There's so much research on gratitude and what it does to us, what it does to our brain, what it does to our body. There's literally an article on like 31 benefits of gratitude, and it's not like a little article, it's like almost a book basically. But there's books literally on gratitude and the impact that it does have on us. So this is a very simple thing that you can utilize anytime you need to. So in one of the many positive psychology books I've read, I definitely read something about gratitude clothing, which I love. So, well, first, some people can do like a list of 10 things in the morning that they're grateful for, maybe in the evening. So maybe you want to start your day with that energy, or instead of ending your day being exhausted and being like, today just was too much, you can end it on a different energy before you're allowing yourself to go to sleep. So the gratitude piece of clothing, basically what it is, it's anything that you choose in the morning. It could be your glasses, it could be your watch, it could be a ring, it could be a necklace, it could be blouse, shoes, whatever it is, right? So you pick this thing in the morning. And then throughout the day, whenever you see this thing or accidentally touch this thing, someone comments on it, whatever it is, it triggers you to remember to remind yourself of something that you are grateful for. So you have an opportunity to shift how you feel throughout the day. So I don't know about the guys, but I know about us ladies. When we leave the bathroom, we're doing a mirror check. We're not leaving without doing a mirror check, right? So if my gratitude piece of clothing that day is my blouse, right? I'm leaving the bathroom. Maybe I went there and I was like, I just needed a break. I'm a little bit frustrated. So I have an opportunity to be in this bathroom and to walk out and have this space of, man, why did I come to work today? And be in a space of, I got to come to work today. I still have a job. When people have been laid off, I still have a job. When I've messed up at least 10 times, I'm still able to be here, right? So this is an opportunity to shift your emotions, okay? Does it need to be specific? Because gratitude can be generic. It doesn't need to be specific. Generic gratitude every day, still impactful. Yes. Some people will, I mean, there's so many different ways to activate it. Some people in the morning when they're walking their dog, they'll do a rampage of appreciation, which is just you're walking and you just start kind of reminding yourself of the things that you appreciate. Walking in my neighborhood, it's really easy for me to do that. So that's something that, again, will generate a different energy for you. So, yeah, you don't have to be specific. How to feel happy and positive about your body image when you feel unhappy with yourself. So that's a lot of work around the meaning of beauty, so to speak, right? Usually with our body image, we have this idea of what beautiful is, valuable, what useful is, right? So that's working a little bit more with your therapist and doing some activities on your own, even researching different things to identify what beauty really is. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't work on moving to like a healthier space, right? If there's something that you can control about yourself and it'll make you feel better, have at it. So if I've had, say, body image issues for myself in the past, I will literally look up definitions of beauty for different cultures. Like, what is it that somebody in Africa actually would look like? Or what is it that somebody in Roman times actually looked like, right? Were they skinny? Were they tall? Were they thick? Did they have smooth skin or did they have like polka dot skin? I don't know, right? But it helps me to challenge this idea. And I will actually talk a little bit about our cultural stuff to challenge this idea around what everyone thinks beautiful is, right? So sometimes you have to stop relying on everyone else's definitions in order for you to embrace your level of happy and acceptance. Okay? All right. Affirmation meditation. Okay. Can we repeat things in daily gratitude lists, or should it always be new things only? No, you do it how you want to do it. There may be something that you are eternally grateful for. If I put my kids on my gratitude list every day, it would still be perfectly fine and I would still be grateful. Okay. And let me see. Who do you keep disciplined with gratitude? Maybe how do you keep discipline with gratitude or positive emotion? Practice, right? It's just you making a decision that you want to practice something, and being consistent creates a momentum, and then it makes it easier to do it again and again, right? So like for me, meditating in the morning is really helpful, just 10 minutes with the Calm app. And I will, when I get off of it, when I don't use it, I can tell the difference. So for me, it's just about being accountable and telling myself I have to do this, because I know that when I do it, I know how I feel differently. So I try to take note of the positive, of the positive consequences, so to speak, because I want those benefits. So I'll continue to do a thing even if I'm tired or whatever, just because I know the benefits that'll come from it. All right, so let's move to the next one. Yes, it'll be recorded and available for 7 days. So the next of PERMA, PERMA, is engagement. So engagement is when we engage in a task, a project, something that we have to do, but we're utilizing our own strengths and we're getting into a space of flow. So being in a state of flow is when you feel like you're doing something that, say, it's like a 3-hour task, but you feel capable of doing it. So for you, it feels like an hour and 15 minutes, right? Because you're not so frustrated. You don't feel defeated all the way through. You feel like, yes, I have to like use these muscles, but I can do it. And there's something so good about feeling like, but I can do it. So I will continue to do it. Right. So understanding exactly what you're made of is helpful in filling up this building block. So according to positive psychology, we all have 24 character strengths. We have them at different levels. So there is an assessment that you can utilize to understand what your top 5 character strengths are. And once you take that assessment, it actually keeps the results for you. You don't really have to go back and do it again, because it's kind of like a personality test. Like, your strengths are your strengths, right? So these are the 24 character strengths. And there's a couple of places to do the assessment. You can take the assessment at the bottom here. It says vaacharacter.org. Do not pay for the assessment. There's too many places to take it for free. Okay. So that's one of the spaces to take that assessment. And it's called the VIA Character Strength Survey for Adults. Authentic Happiness. And University of Pennsylvania, which is where they actually do all the research on positive psychology, has created several assessments, and they've created actually a database with other assessments, not just the positive psychology one, and it's free as well. So I'm going to drop that in here for you. Here we go. So Authentic Happiness is, you can find assessments on life satisfaction, on attachment, character strengths, and there's surveys that will kind of scale. There'll be a scale, so you can go back and you can take the surveys again and again, so you can see the progress that you're making. All right. So of these 24 character strengths that you see here, without even taking an assessment, sometimes we do understand these things about ourselves. So which of these character strengths would you say you have already? Perspective, curiosity. I have used that strength finder. It's not, yes, and it's good. Like, any strength finder is going to be good. It just happens to be a different assessment. I can tell you all the assessments and surveys that they use on the site that I gave you are all research-based assessments, right? So it's all these PhD students and these doctors who have created them. Gratitude, empathetic kindness, humor, love of learning, social intelligence, yes. Love and perseverance. Zest. I love zest. I don't even remember on my top 5, but I know that there's 5 of them, and they're not in order of the percentage or anything like that. But I remember the one that was at the top somewhere was humor, right? So if I am feeling nervous somewhere, I'm able to pull upon this thing in order to calm me down for a little bit until I get into my flow, so to speak, right? How could judgment be positive? If you're looking, judgment is like discernment. It's being able to judge for what you need. Judgment is something that we all have. We look at it as a negative thing in terms of judging others. That's different. When you're making a judgment call, you are looking at the entire situation, and you're able to discern what is safe and what's not safe, what's going to be beneficial and what's not beneficial. So it's different. Do you have a book recommendations for books on emotional intelligence? I don't. Emotional intelligence is actually talked about in the How of Happiness, because it is also a positive psychology concept as well. But I don't have a recommendation for a specific book for that. I was actually given this recommendation. My friend gave it to me, but I don't remember the name of the book. All right, so let's experiment a little bit with this engagement. Okay, so before you type anything, you can hear me. Don't type yet. Don't type. Just hold on a second. I want you to think of something that you have to do every week that you don't like doing. Okay, so this can be anything, but it's something that you have to do. You don't like doing it, and you have to do it every week. Now, I want you to, without typing yet, I want you to imagine the strength that you just identified that you would utilize to do this thing you don't like doing. So take 15 seconds to literally visualize this thing that you don't like to do, that you have to do every week. And then what strength would you use to do it? Okay. Okay, it's been 15 seconds. Food shopping, patience. I got the work and perseverance. Cleaning, always. Going to work, perseverance. Clean bathroom, zest. Ah, someone used zest. Yes. Laundry, better judgment. How are we using judgment with laundry? I am deeply curious. I have to know. Vacuuming, zest. Sweet mop, perseverance. Sometimes feel like giving up. I'm gonna try many times. Okay. Paying bills. What's the strength you would utilize with paying bills? Bravery, managing people. Have clean underwear. Yes, yes, that is a good judgment call. That is a great judgment call. Yes. Waking up early, willpower. Help my daughter with her Kumon. Patience. Yes. Self-care, gratitude, exercise, perseverance. Absolutely. Getting out of bed, perseverance. Yes. I'm gonna say litter boxes. It drives me nuts. Forgiveness is my strength. I mean, everyone deserves to poop in a clean place. Yes. And a litter box always comes up for this one. Love it. All right. So this is you utilizing your strengths in all different ways. It could be at work, it could be in relationships, it could be at home, right? Or it could be just to motivate yourself to do something. We all have these things. So remember, you are able to take this assessment and figure out what your superpower is, so to speak. So why is it important for us to build this building block of engagement? Well, utilizing our strengths is addicting, right? So the more that we use it, the more we want to use it, and therefore the more often we are in a state of flow. So I would rather be in a state of flow than in a state of powerlessness or a state of frustration most of my days, right? So the more you tap into this thing, the easier things will be as you move through your journey. People like you more. So if you're working on this project that's taking everybody the same amount of time as you, and they're like scratching their head, they're doing the sign, they have to take 10 breaks, they got to go get coffee, all this stuff, and you're just like hunkered down, you're in it, right? They're trying to figure out, why are you whistling? What is going on? But they see that you are confident about what it is that you're doing, and they want to figure that out. They want some of that energy as well. So it's kind of like the building block with the positive emotion and people being drawn to that. They want to have some of that in their lives, so people come closer to you. Depression is decreased. So one of the aspects of depression is feeling powerless, feeling hopeless. But when you understand your power more, you are more powerful. And the research shows that the depression does decrease. Okay. Your strengths are self-reinforcing. So this means this is something that you have with you all the time. You don't have to call upon anybody to make it happen. You don't have to call somebody and figure out, what am I going to do? You can call them when you have an opportunity and tell them what you did do. Okay. So guys, remember, if it's a question for me, go ahead and click the question mark, just so I don't get confused about what's a question and what's just a statement. Okay. And I'm going to go back up and see if there's a question. Share the same as me. And I need to work on my empathy. Do you have any assessments for that? I don't know of an assessment for empathy, but again, the link I gave you has several assessments. So they actually might have an assessment on that. And when you say working on empathy, I'm not sure if you mean you have too much empathy or you don't have enough empathy. That would be an interesting one. There are courses on people who are empathetic, meaning you pretty much experience other people's emotions. There are courses for you to take to figure out how to manage your empathy and kind of protect yourself from other people's emotions. Those are easy to find as well. If you Google, like, there's something called, what is it called? Empath Academy, if that's what you meant. So I'm not sure which side of empathy that you were talking about. All right. And can you say the link? I'm on audio. It's going to be, okay. It is authentichappiness.sas.upenn.edu. So engagement is using, yes, your strengths to move through your journey. Yes. Mm-hmm. Can't we be wrong about our strengths? If other people think I'm deluded, then that's not a good thing, surely. You can be wrong about your strengths, which is why I'm providing that assessment for you to take, which is oh, thank you, BN, which is, like I said, research-based assessments. So they've done the research to know that this is fairly accurate. I'm going to tell you, this assessment is 240 questions. So they get pretty thorough with you. All right. So the next of our PERMA building blocks in the viacharacter.org is nothing but the VIA character strength survey. So that one will bring you directly to it, where the one that I gave you for authentic happiness has several assessments for free. Okay. Where is this assessment? Let me just actually write it down. VIA character strength survey for adults. You don't want to take the one for kids. Okay. Any of the assessments any of the links that you click on will be helpful. So I know we've put a lot in here. The authentic happiness is going to have several assessments. viacharacter.org is going to have the VIA character strength survey for you in there. And the last one that someone put in terms of empath connection, it's for anyone who deals with empathy, meaning you feel like you might be an empath. Sorry if that's confusing, but okay. But again, guys, this will be recorded so you can go through it slowly to pick out the things that you need. So the third of the building blocks of PERMA, P-E-R-M-A, is relationships. So we are absolutely social beings, and we definitely need this love and belonging. It is very important for us to feel like we are a part of a tribe, to feel like we are seen, to feel like we are heard. So especially when you're on this journey that you're on right now, in terms of your healing, you want to make sure that the relationships that you are maintaining are those that are not toxic, that are helping you and not holding you back. Okay. So these are just some of the ingredients of a healthy relationship. We have respect, appreciation, recognition, support, gratitude, and an overarching love. But there's so many different aspects that are positive to us in our relationships. My little sister, we've gone to dinner, and she'll tell us that when she comes home, she's a dentist. She comes home and she'll say, Chris, who's her husband, Chris, today was crazy. I had patients who bit me. The receptionist is horrible with answering the telephone. My assistant didn't order all my supplies. This is just a mess, right? And she says the first thing that Chris will say to her is, Stacy, well, did you, prepare your receptionist for how many calls you would get? Did you make sure that the patient was calm? Did you put the right stuff on the list? It's always like, what did you do that you could have done better? And that is the worst thing to do with your partner, your friend, your family member, the person that you're supporting. It's like, dang, are you on my team or what? Right? It's not that you have to co-sign all the things that I've done and say that everything is okay all the time, but it is your duty as someone who's in a relationship with me to make me feel like you are on my side, right? And you're going to help me with the things that I need help with, and not tell me how I could always be better. Okay. But different things are beneficial to different people. So what would you say are some, yes, listen, don't fix. What would you say are some of the best relationships that you have right now? Your mom, my friends, my son, sisters, partners, parents, sister-in-law, marriage because of therapy, your partner. Oh, I just went to the site. So I would just go ahead. However, oh, I see. Your youngest daughter, your therapist, teacher, parent, friends. So what about these relationships, right? Because for you, there's things that you value that might be different than what I value, right? What about these relationships that you have mentioned, would you say are good for you? What are the things that make them good for you? It doesn't have to be the things in the pyramid, but whatever it is, what makes these relationships good for you? Support, same age, security, love, mutual understanding. Yes. Respect, encouragement, support. Yes. Oh, wait, I see it up here. This is the one. Acceptance. Acceptance is like the hugest thing. Like, you see me, You still love me. You still want to hear me. You still want to embrace me. This is what we want. This is what's so important to us, especially when you're in therapy. I tend to see that anyone who comes to see me, I see couples and I see individuals. But everyone who comes to me is coming about some relationship that has damaged them, that has poured into them, that is taken away, that they want to get back, that they want to have it be better, whether you are single or not. We're about our relationships, right? And so this acceptance thing is such a huge thing. We want to be seen in a way where it's okay. We don't have to be seen as perfect. We just have to be seen as enough to not be kicked out of the tribe, right? So this is a really important thing. So this is what I want you guys to pay attention to in terms of building this building block. You've mentioned these things that these other people have brought to your life, and you've mentioned how they kind of enhance your relationship building block. The other side of the building block is you building it as well, okay? It says in order to have a good friend, you have to be a good friend. So all these things that these people do for you, is that the way that you show up in their lives as well? Are you accepting of them? Are you the person who is, holding them accountable, who encourages them, who respects them, right? That's the way that you have the power over building that building block. And the other way is a protective power in not allowing people to be a part of your journey who are constantly negative, who are always discouraging you, are always telling you that you're not enough. It doesn't make sense for you to not build boundaries around those things when you want to grow. Okay? So, how do you deal with someone who's always negative, your partner being someone you love and care about, but you have different opinions very often, and he tends to have a negative outlook on things from the get-go? It's you can only be kind of an example in your relationship and hope that the other person in your relationship will pick up on that energy, right? So if you are in a constant cycle of negativity where both of you kind of go back and forth with it, you're dancing the tango together. Somebody has to decide to dance the cha-cha. And the other person is either going to decide to come and cha-cha with you, or they're going to tango away. So you can't really control how another person is showing up, but you can absolutely protect yourself from negativity. And sometimes it's literally creating a physical boundary. I'm not saying you have to leave this person, but creating space for yourself. I was with someone who was very negative all the time, and it definitely depleted me. I had to be the one who was intentional about cultivating my own beliefs about the world and about things that were positive and feeling blessed and things like that. And I couldn't force them to think that way. I could only believe what I believed openly, and they picked up on some of that energy, but I can't change how they are. You really just have a decision about how you're going to protect your journey. Okay? If I misread, but what is respect at the bottom? Sorry if I misread, but what is respect? Are you asking me the definition of respect? I'm not really understanding what you mean by that. Expand on that so I can answer your question. I'm going to keep going and I'll come back and see. I know it was EE, so I don't really know what you mean by that. Okay, so the next one in the building block of PERMA, PERMA, is meaning. So meaning comes from serving something larger than ourselves and finding a sense of purpose, okay? How many people would say that you struggle with a sense of purpose? Yes. This tends to be probably one of my clients' biggest struggles that happens when they come into my office. So, in terms of purpose, we want to break it down into more of a bite-sized thing instead of this huge thing that we pressure ourselves with, okay? So, yeah, existential crisis every day. You guys know we create our own crises. So, Picasso says, the meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of it is to give it away. We were just talking about some of your gifts. Your strengths are your gifts, right? I wholeheartedly believe that the things that we are good at, the things that come easy to us, are present because it is supposed to tie into our purpose. It's supposed to tie in how we affect positive change for people. And you don't have to affect positive change for the entire world, just someone. because there is always a ripple effect, right? So this thing where we have this big overarching, I have to have this big purpose. How come I'm not president yet? What's wrong with me? Guess what? Your purpose could change sometimes. You want to look at the different passions and things like that you have to recognize that maybe it is time for you to serve someone different or in a different way or ignite a different strength that you have, right? You're not stuck in this one space that you had to do a thing. But what's very helpful for me is breaking down purpose into intention, into like daily intention. Now, I think that I know my purpose, but I can't serve my whole purpose in one day, right? So I break it up. So in the morning, before I open my eyes, I'm still pretending I'm asleep. Before I meditate, before I'm feeding dogs or children or whatever, I set an intention for myself. And I say, Joy, what's our intention for today? Just a little thing so I can keep on track. My intention today could be that I'm going to smile at everyone I see today, that I'm going to open the door for everybody I see today, that I'm going to listen more and talk less, right? Whatever it is, just a very small intention for today. And say I had this intention, I'm going to smile at everyone, right? Say we go to the grocery store and I'm keeping up with my intention. I'm showing up as the best version of myself. And I'm smiling at everybody I see that I make eye contact with. And there's a guy like 3 aisles down. I happen to see him peek his head out and I say, like, okay. And I smile at him and I go about my business. Okay. You have no idea if this guy that you just smiled at, very simply because you were living in your intention, has not been talked to, touched, has not been approached in months, and was starting to believe that he was invisible, that he wasn't alive, that he was nothing, and that there was no point in him being here anymore. You have no idea how much you impact somebody just by you being the best version of yourself on this particular day, right? So this is an easier way for you to build this building block and not feel like you are constantly failing in your purpose. You're not, because our purpose is literally to affect positive change for other people. That's it. It doesn't have to be so specific. You don't have to hold so tight to a dream or a vision of what you had. You have no idea how you encourage other people just by you being brave enough to do the things that you need to do in your life. Okay? So, share with me what you think your meaning or your purpose is. And this could be just the intention I talked about. What's going to be your intention for tomorrow? Just what's something that you think lines up with your purpose? So purpose isn't necessarily one overarching life theme. It's sad that that is so ingrained in society. We're asked at such a young age what grand thing we intend to do with our lives, occupation, service, how do we unlearn this thinking? And accept smaller purposes every day by coming to groups like this and hearing something new. And then you tell a friend and then they tell a friend, like, hey, guess what? We're not broken. We're not lazy. We haven't failed. Just share it, right? Pay it forward. What do you do if you feel like that invisible guy who feels forgotten or alone? You find places like here where there are other people. You find support groups. You find groups of other people who feel the same way so you guys can snap yourself out of that current reality that you're experiencing, that you are alone. I can't tell you how many people feel like they are by themselves. And what does that say? If I'm telling you all these people feel like they're by themselves, that means all these people have an opportunity to not be by themselves. Making life better for someone. Active listening in all my interactions. Yes. Healthy support. Love my job, which is teaching, volunteer. Helps to not feel alone. Thank you. Knowing that you have something that you can always give to someone is an amazing feeling. To remember that. We need to understand our usefulness in the world. Okay. All right. And so this brings me to our last of PERMA, PERMA. And I do apologize. I know I'm not answering everyone's question because I can't. But again, I want to remind you that you are able to direct message me or email me, and I will answer your question. Whether or not you're there, it'll be recorded on a live tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So let me just pop that in really quick because I know there's stuff that I did miss. And I have no problem answering your question because it's Tuesday, and that's what I do on Tuesday. All right, so achievement or accomplishment, PERMA, mastering a skill and achieving goals. So #goals, right? So This building block is not about you being a rocket scientist and being the most intelligent person in the world, being able to do all the things, right? But what it is about is having persistence, having grit and self discipline. Literally, there's books just on grit, right? Kind of, you think of it as like setting your GPS and you go. So if I'm in Boca and I want to get to Miami, I might mess around and end up at the casino. I might mess around and turn around and accidentally be in Del Rey, right? I went the opposite way. But guess what? Google Maps is going to continue to turn me around and push me towards my goal. It is not over. It is not a failure when you take a rest stop. You just stay on the path and you continue to go. When you build these other building blocks, it also helps with your goals, right? When you understand your purpose a little bit more, we are more clear on our goals. When we have our relationships, we have the resources to help us get to our goals. When we understand our strengths, we feel more successful and capable in reaching our goals. And when we have positive emotion, we can pick ourselves back up and move in a space of hope, moving towards our goals, our achievements, and our accomplishments, okay? What happens when you take these smaller steps towards your goals, like breaking down the purpose, breaking down the goal? Oh my God, I didn't meet this big goal. That's because there's little things in between that you didn't look at, right? So you need to build up the smaller objectives before we get to the bigger goal. And before you know it, you turn around and you've met 20 of these small goals. And you're like, wait a minute, I just did 20 of those things. And you realize I can do this and I can do 20 more. Why not? This is how you build upon your goals. Understanding that failure is not really failure. It is pausing for a moment, and you're only done when you're done, when you're no longer capable of doing anything else. And that happens when we're no longer here, but you're still here. Okay? When you run out of goals, you have to get creative and create more. That's actually an interesting thing. As human beings, we are naturally very creative beings. And what you will find is when you do reach your goals, you're like, oh, that was cool. Okay, what do I do now? We don't want to sit still. We want to do something else. It is a natural inclination that we have. And that's when I'm saying, like, in terms of purpose, like, oh my God, I don't even know my purpose anymore. You have to kind of put yourself out there, get back into some different passions, and realize that your strengths can be utilized somewhere else, and therefore creating a new goal. Okay. So share here a goal that you plan to persist in this year. The A stood for achievement or accomplishment. Searching for a new job, losing weight, confidentiality. No, confidently, sorry, start my business. There is something my friend sent me the other day about during COVID. I don't know the number, but it was like a crazy number. Like 10,000 new businesses were created during COVID. When you're pushed to do things, all of a sudden you'll do them. How many people were working for someone before COVID and they will never be working for someone again, right? Overcoming emotional eating, finding exercise. Yeah, that you like. How many goals can we work on at once? Multitasking is a myth. We don't really multitask, but you can work on as many as you like at once, right? Just understand your capacity. Never go back to an in-person job again. Yep. Taking my spiritual practice seriously. Yes. Yes. All right. So I have a story for you guys. I only have 3 minutes, so I'm going to quickly go over these again. But again, you will get a recording. So we had positive emotion of PERMA. We had engagement. We have relationships, meaning, and achievement or accomplishment. Yes, no longer going against my intuition. Yes. Right before I got on with you guys, I was talking to my client and I said, literally, the whole purpose of therapy to me is for you to trust your intuition and know what it looks like when it comes, because then you'll never have to ask another person a question again. So, yes, that is a pyramid. But again, you're going to get a recording. So, all right. I got like 60 seconds. All right. So I have an elephant story for you. I love elephants. It is my spirit animal. Favorite. So quick story for you guys. When baby elephants are taken into captivity, right? They're taken to like the zoo or someone's place where they're going to show elephants and things like that. They've only been alive for a little bit of time, but they've only known freedom, right? So when you take this baby into captivity, what the owner will do, not in a way that's painful, but they will put a chain around the elephant's ankle. The elephant does not know what a chain is, okay? So when this happens, the elephant will get up, walk towards the fence so it can go explore because that's what it's used to doing. And it gets to the fence and it realizes it can't go past the fence and it doesn't understand why. So the elephant will continue to try to go past, to pull, to go side to side, dig up some dirt until it realizes that this tether on its ankle is keeping it there. So eventually the elephant will stop. Well, as the elephant grows, the owner continues to change the chain on the elephant. It could be a different color, it could be a different weight. So every time the elephant is like, well, this is something different. I'm going to get up and go now. So the elephant will get up yet again, go to the fence. It'll try all the tricks that it did before. It'll keep going, thinking this is something different until it realizes each time, man, it's holding me back again. And eventually the elephant will get into the space of what we like to call acceptance, right? And you know what? The elephant will be like, listen, this is actually okay. I like it here. I have shade under this tree. This guy's always giving me food. The people over there are always giving me peanuts. I love peanuts. I'm perfectly happy staying right here where I am. Okay. So when you get to, say, if you guys have ever been to Bronx Zoo or the Miami Zoo, anything like that, you'll usually see that the elephants are far back. They're usually kind of down low. We have the fence next to us, and there's like a body of water in between us, all that stuff. But there's no chain on the elephant. The reason there's no chain on the elephant is because there's literally no chain that can hold a full grown elephant. This elephant in our story is often like who we are and does not understand its strength. It doesn't understand that if it got up one more time in its full grown self, it could just walk past that fence, release itself from that chain, and be back into this world. But this elephant has been convinced that the circumstances around it is stronger than it because it doesn't understand itself. And we will do the same thing to ourselves. We will convince ourselves that we are defeated, that we are stuck, that others always have power over what it is that we are doing and how we are living. But if we continue to try, if we continue to dig and realize the strength that we actually always have inside of us, we'll realize that we are limitless and there is nothing that we cannot do. But it is just a matter of you understanding self and utilizing what you have. Okay? Yes, learn helplessness. Yes. All right, guys. So I'm about a minute over, but that was our entire presentation today. Thank you so much for all the feedback that you did give to each other. Remember, there's a link up top with some resources for if you need it. If you still want me to answer your question, you can send the information to me, and I will be doing a live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, whether it's about building blocks of happiness, relationships, things like that. I'm more than happy to answer it. Just do it once a week, okay? So guys, please enjoy the rest of your week. If there are other topics you want to hear about, please always feel free to give feedback and let the help desk know things that you would like to be filled up more with. All right? All right, guys, have a great week.